Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Monza Farms. In our last video, an elderly man from the village walked a farm with a coconut and showed us where he believed water was hiding beneath the earth. It was humbling, it was fascinating. And after two disappointing borewells from the similar traditional methods in the past, it was also a moment that made us think carefully about what our next step should be. That next step arrived the following week with machines. We called in a geologist, a professional who surveys land for underground water using modern scientific methods. He came with a set of instruments that looked to be honest, like they belonged on a different planet compared to a coconut. What these machines do is remarkable. They measure electrical resistivity in the soil, essentially reading how the earth conducts or resists electrical current at different depths. Underground water, rock formations, dry zones, each of them responds differently. The equipment maps all of this and builds a picture of what is happening hundreds of feet below where we are standing. It tells you not just where the water might be present, but how deep it is, how much of water there could be, and what you will have to drill through to reach it. This is not intuition, this is data. Watching the geologist work was a completely different experience from watching the old man the week before, where the old man moved in silence, reading something internal. The geologist moved methodically, placing his sensors, recording readings, marking coordinates. Every step had a reason. Every number meant something. It took time. It required patience. But by the end of the survey, he had identified specific points on our land where, in his professional assessment, water was most likely to be found and most likely to be worth drilling for. The geologist also looked at our existing borewells, the ones we had drilled over the past 2 years. Our best one, he confirmed, is doing well. 1.5 inch of water, holding strong even in summer. A good bore. The one giving us only half to 1 inch, the one that barely trickles, and the one he said has more potential than we have reached. We have already drilled 500 feet into the earth. 500 feet, still only a trickle. His advice for the second bore was to go deeper. The water is there. We simply have not reached that right layer yet. A little further, he said, and the story of that bore may change. So, this is the point. This is the one which we have stopped after 500 feet. And he said, pushing that existing well deeper will give it a proper chance. And in fact, he said, this point is going to give us more water. And then came the moment I had been quietly waiting for the entire time he was working. I showed him the points the old man marked, the coconut points, the brick points. I wanted to know what does science say about what tradition found? What the geologist said genuinely surprised me. He did not dismiss those points. He did not smile politely and set them aside. He looked at them carefully and he spoke about traditional water dowsing with real respect. He told us it used to work, not as a theory, not as a folklore. In his own life, his own grandfather's farm had been located using exactly this method. Someone walking the land with a simple object, reading what the earth was communicating. That borewell, he said, had been giving good water for decades. It still gives water today. He was a trained geologist, standing on our land with expensive equipment, telling us that the old man with the coconut had once found what the earth was hiding and found it well. But then he said something that reframed everything. The reason traditional methods are no longer reliable enough on their own, he explained, is not because the knowledge is wrong. It is because the earth has changed. The climate changed, years of deforestation, decades of over extraction of groundwater across India, the water table in Andhra Pradesh, and across much of peninsular India has dropped dramatically. What was once 40 feet below the surface is now 200 feet down, sometimes much more deeper. Traditional water dowsing, he explained, reads the upper layer of the earth, the shallow aquifers, the surface moisture, the channels that our ancestors always depended on. And those are shrinking. In many places, they are nearly gone. To find reliable water today, you have to go deep, much deeper than tradition ever had to. That's why you need a geology now. Not to replace what the old man knows, but to go where his coconut cannot follow. Based on his full geological survey, the geologist has identified a fresh location on our land, a point that his data, his readings, his formation maps, his professional experience tells him it's worth drilling. This will be a brand new borewell at a point chosen by science. We have two things ahead of us now: one rebore of the existing well, one new drill on the geologist recommended point. What this day, these 2 days, really taught us is something that feels important to say out loud. Traditional knowledge and modern science are not enemies. They are not in competition. At their best, they are in conversation. An old man from the village walked our land and showed us where to look. A geologist with modern equipment told us how deep to look and why the earth has made it harder. Between the two of them, we have a picture we could have had from either one alone. That is what natural farming keeps teaching us over and over again. Listen to the land, listen to the people who have always known the land, and then bring every honest tool you have to understand it more deeply. In the next video, we will show you exactly what happened after this, which points we choose, where we drilled, how deep we went, and the moment every farmer holds their breath. And how much water we found. Until then, keep watching the land. It always has something to say.